What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Voice of College Football 365. I'm your host, John Robinson IV. If you all can call me J-Rob. Before we get into our show, I want to make sure everybody goes up there, leave a comment, leave a like, leave a subscription. That is always important. This channel does not run without your support. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me last week. We got a fully loaded show today. I am happy to bring in one of my co-hosts throughout this live series. His name is Donnie Clemens. He also goes by Picks and Spreads on TikTok, so you might have heard of him. Very popular on TikTok. So let me bring him up right now. Donnie, how you doing, boss? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the stream.
I couldn't be more excited, man. I am absolutely thrilled. Growing up as a little kid, I had a family that was big into football. My stepdad loved football, and he taught me something very important when I was younger, and that was no sport in all of America is greater than college football. I can't wait to get talking about it, man. The season's around the corner.
Yeah.
Let's get it, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm definitely excited. I agree. I mean, there's a different aura about college football for sure. We're going to have about 3 different topics. We're going to do a tier list today, our first tier list on the pod. This might be the first Voice of College Football tier list, period, honestly. So that's pretty dope. And so to start off the show, I mean, I think one of the craziest stories I've heard, and there's been a lot, honestly, Donnie, with NIL coming into play, there's been a lot of crazy stories, actually. But I do think because of what has become a wild, wild west type of system in college football, there is kind of no bounds to what you might hear in terms of how these schools try to pull players or what they pay players or how they remove a player from their program. And recently, a high-profile quarterback, it was recently reported that Lenore Sellers was offered $8 million for 2 years to leave the University of South Carolina to transfer. That's insane to me just because it shows you how many resources teams are willing to put into their quarterback. It is almost like, ironically, you can play out of university, but at the same time, it's almost like you're still being scouted by other universities. It is almost as if a lot of these players are one-year rentals. And I'll admit, I wasn't surprised by the story at all. But to think $8 million to get a guy to transfer who might be entering the draft this in 1 year, so you might not even get a 2-year deal out of the situation. It's kind of insane, but the irony of it is Lenore Sellers decided to turn that money down. And so I found that to be very interesting, very mature by Lenore. And Donnie, what are your thoughts on this whole scenario so far?
I think it's fascinating because we've seen the emergence of NIL throughout college football, especially with quarterbacks. It started with Shedeur Sanders, Arch Manning. You could argue actually it started with Quinn Ewers back when he was a true freshman at Ohio State. He was supposed to be the savior of Texas whenever he was in high school. He made the shocking move to go to Ohio State for the 1 year for the money. And then eventually he then transfers to Texas. And we see it all the time. We see all these quarterbacks take all this money. I mean, Carson Beck could have been a projected day 2 pick in the NFL draft. He goes to Miami for $4 million. But then we've also seen some guys decline the money. Quinn Ewers was reportedly offered $10 million at North Carolina. And for him to turn it down and go to the draft, it's shocked a lot of people. And same with this story. When I saw Lenore Sellers was offered $8 million, I couldn't believe it. I was like, 1, how is he not accepting that? And 2, good for him for not accepting it. And I really do hope that there is a new wave of this stuff. And listen, I'm a big believer. Go get your money. Sometimes at the end of the day, you're just not good enough for the NFL, but that's fine. That's why college is here. That's why college is great. But with Lenore having that loyalty, I think that's something that South Carolina fans should be proud of, man, because he's a young kid. Obviously, we've talked about him in the past, how talented he is, how physically gifted he is. And for him to decline that money to stay with a program that believes in him, I think that brings a smile to my face. And it's just something that, older college football fans can appreciate.
Yeah, I could appreciate not only the loyalty, but it also shows the people in his corner, the type of parents he has, what they value. And I think in today's college football climate, for these kids that are trying to go to the NFL, listen, Donnie, when it comes to scouting, they look at every single thing.
Yes.
And so for some of these kids chasing the money, and you don't know every kid's situation, it is hard to tell a 19, 20-year-old kid to turn down $8-9 million. But for an NFL team, they may look at it like you transferred 3 times. In some of the situations, it wasn't a matter of you transferred Power 5 to Power 5, Power 4, what we call it now. It's not like you went from an elite program, a middle-tier program to an elite one. You just transferred from Oklahoma to Auburn. You know what I'm saying? No shots at Jackson Arnold, but it's just to say, like, these are 2 high-level Power 4 big programs in the SEC. And so for Lenore to show his loyalty, I wish him the best this season. We've talked off screen. I am high on Lenore's ceiling. Also I will say, how I feel, production over talent, but his talent is off the charts. And so if he can really just go from the promise, he showed a lot of promise a season ago. If he could just take this thing one step further, I think because of his God-given talent, just the things you can't teach, he'll put himself in potential to be a top 5, top 10 pick. I called out Anthony Richardson to you a few years back and to some of our other colleagues that we worked with, and he didn't have nearly as productive of a season to warrant him to go top 5, but the talent was so far off the charts that you had to take that shot. You had to take that risk. So for Lenore's, I am very happy that he has people in his circle who are putting him in the best situation to succeed. Because at the end of the day, in a year, this, Donnie, he'll be signing for 4 seasons, 4 years, $40 million. It'll be more than what you'll make these 2 years. And he's probably still getting 7 figures to go to South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like he's probably in a low bracket. So moving on to our next topic, there's been recent rumors about an overhaul to the college football calendar, overhaul to the transfer portal. And so they were thinking about having a portal in 2 scenarios, a portal in January or a portal in April. Because right now it just kind of seems like you can enter the portal whenever. You can jump in the portal during the season. You can jump in the portal. Like there's no regulation to it. For me, I don't know where I stand in terms of should it be 2 windows. I really don't know. Because I look at certain situations and I look at a kid who might be the better quarterback, but the other guy's getting paid $3 million to be here. And I think for a lot of scenarios, there could be politics and money. You understand it. In pro sports, we see it all the time, Donnie. In the NBA, we see it all the time where a guy who is the 10th man on the bench might be better than the 7th or 6th man, but they giving the 6th man $30 million. He got to play. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like in college football, a lot of that can happen for some of these kids. And so I think even if you play well, if they try to bring you a replacement and they pay a replacement to come in, you saw what happened in UCLA with the Nico situation. The quarterback, they literally just traded. They just straight up swap. Yeah. And it was just because the guy coming in just kind of knew, like, they're paying Nico $2 million to be here, 1.7, whatever it was. They're not paying me that money. So it's clear they value him more than me. He's probably going to start if he looks halfway if he looks as good as me, he's starting. And so in those situations, I think a two scenario window might not be in the best interest because of how wild west college NIL and college football is. If it was more structured, maybe, but I don't want to say I haven't picked a side on it yet, but I do have some concerns.
I was going to use your reasoning, the Nico reasoning, to believe, and I think we all know this at this point, college football is turning into the NFL. While some people have a problem with it, I can also see positives. And with this, NFL free agency is in the month of March, and that's it. Now, obviously, there's stuff that goes out a little bit longer. There's the later free agents that you can sign over the summer. But most of those guys, those are usually the lower quality, maybe some low-end starters, some high-quality backups. The big-time players get signed first week of March. We always have. Josh Sweat got signed first week of March. Milton Williams, first week, just this past free agency. Sam Darnold, first week of March. All these guys got signed the first week when NFL free agency opened up. And I think the transfer portal can be something like that. Now, granted, there's way more players. There's way more guys than the NFL free agency. So I think the expanded idea is smart. But I agree. I think it should be 1 month only because I don't like the Nico chaos. And if anything, I think it makes him look a little bit worse that, he switched out of a school because he didn't believe in Tennessee's bluff of him saying, hey, if you don't pay me this money I want, I'll go to UCLA. And I don't think he believed the bluff, and now he's paying the price. And I believe he's at a program he doesn't want to be at. I don't think he wants to be at UCLA. I think he wants to be in Tennessee. But unfortunately, he paid a bad price, and he took a gamble that didn't work. So I'm 100% there with you. I think the portal should be 1 month, maybe 2 months because there's so many people. Just give it one opening in January when the season ends. I think that's perfect.
Yeah, so when it comes to the Nico situation, I will say this. I think Nico's situation is a lot like the opposite of Lenore Seller's situation.
Yes.
It is who is guiding it. Listen, I know it is easy for us to come at the college athlete, but Donnie, some of these kids not even old enough to take a drink yet. I don't even think Nico's 21 yet. He's 20 years old. And so at 20 years old, I know he's, regardless of what people want to say, well, he's over 18, makes his own decisions. I remember when I was 18, 19, 20. Yeah, I thought I had a little bit of freedom in college because I was in school and football, great. When I still came home, my mom still had me taking that trash out, still had me taking, it was like I never left. You know what I'm saying? There were still responsibilities. And so at 20 years old, you still, regardless of what you're making in NIL, you're still going to listen to your parents. Obviously, for a lot of these kids, Donnie, their counsel is their parents. Those just because they have business inquiry in their profiles on Instagram, the profile, the emails, their parents. It's probably their mom, their dad, their aunt, their uncle. It is somebody in the family that they know. It might be a coach that they've had their whole life, but it is somebody who is close to them. Now, in some situations, yes, they'll have a formal agent because now there are some legalities. But I'm telling you, Donnie, I can give you a story. I'm not going to say any names, but I looked into NIL at my job, and the agent that I was given to for the player was another student at the university. It was this player's friend. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I know that sounds insane, but that's true. It was this player's friend. Like, it is there. This is the wild, wild west. Nobody needs a certification to represent a college, any of these college kids. Like, my brother is in 8th grade. He's already 6 feet tall. He's going to 8th grade. He's already 6 feet tall. Who do you think in our family is going to be doing the counsel for his collegiate future? Probably the guy with the most experience in college football in our family, which will be me. And I'm not saying that to like toot my own horn, but I'm just saying you have to understand that there's the influences of these kids. It's probably close to home. And so when I look at Nico's situation, it looks like it was his dad the whole. I promise you, this was his pops.
It could have been. I mean, I'm not as tapped into that situation as I would like to be. I mean, I just kind of read the big headlines. I read a little bit into it, and I saw, all this stuff. And listen, as someone who was never a big time athlete, you would understand this a lot more than I do. But I can agree, as in your parents really do help with this situation, and someone like you, maybe a younger brother of an older brother, that could help him out. Like, I think that's really smart with you bringing that up, because they're kids, man. Like, these aren't pro athletes. These aren't, veterans, 30-year-old men going up against. These are kids, man. These are kids who are younger than me. So them being handed all this money and all these opportunities, like, that's why, you brought up with Sellers, like, the amount of respect and loyalty that Sellers has. He was raised right, man, and you got to give.
He's playing with his brother. Why would he want to leave his brother? His brother's a wide receiver on the team. You know what I'm saying? It's a good call, but it also shows you his parents. Like, to me, it's the parents. Look, I get it, but I find it hard to believe that Nico realized by himself, independent thought, I just brought Tennessee to a playoff. I deserve more money.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe that he independently thought that idea. I know for certain somebody said, you're getting 1 point, what is it, $2 million or something like that?
Go get your money. Yeah.
You could get more money than that. There's somebody else out there who will pay that. So I definitely think it has a lot to do with who is running the show. And so because I feel like a lot of these kids have their parents in their ears, these situations I feel like kind of show, this is no disrespect to anybody's parent, but just it goes to show what is valued and how business is being conducted on the behalves of these collegiate athletes. So, Donnie, you got a tier list for me. Talk to me about it.
All righty. So this is a college football tier list with college football quarterbacks, the current quarterbacks in college football. Obviously, we had some guys into the draft who aren't going to be on this tier list, like Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, all these guys. These are the upcoming season for college football only. So let's kick this off, starting with one of the more hyped up names, considering this team has gotten a lot of national championship contention. I am Cade Klubnik.
Oh, man. Okay. I'm going to say good. I'm very close to elite with him. I'm very close. Like, when I say I'm close where, like, I think Cade Klubnik can put himself in a first-round position next season. I'm almost sold. He would be at the top of my A right now. There were some games this season where I wasn't in love with him, and I think late this season is where I fell in love with him. that's where I'm like, okay, I see the juice. I see the 5-star recruit. I see the kid that outplayed Quinn Ewers to win a championship in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the kid I see. I got him at the top of great. I'm almost there with Cade Klubnik. Almost there. What I mean by that, Don, it might take 2 games. He's elite. I'm just at the point where I just need to see it. I just see it one more time. But I think, and I might change my mind. Depending on what our elite side looks like, I might move him up. I'm gonna put it at the top of grade, and we'll see how we go, how this thing rolls out. I'm almost there though.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't blame you. He played very well towards the back end of the season. The Texas game I thought was darn near flawless. I thought he was great that game.
That was the game right there. I'm like, this kid is good. He's very good. Yeah.
I agree.
I got him in great right now, right at the top.
Alrighty, next up, we have a NFL draft prospect who's actually getting a lot of hype recently out of Baylor. This is Sawyer Robertson, who's getting a ton of hype right now. What do you think about him?
See, my problem with the tier list, if I go talent, if I say because I like his talent and put him in very good, would that be honest? You know, I still think there's things to see. I think there's a lot of potential. I'm not saying he doesn't have the tools, but the thing is like, I didn't see him hoist Baylor. You know what I'm saying? I think the one thing when it comes to, for me, when I look at like the elite guys, and don't get me wrong, hoisting Baylor doesn't mean he needs to go undefeated. And I think that's the, like, you can win, you can lose 3 games. It's just how you perform. Because Cam Ward was elite. They lost 2 or 3 games. You know what I'm saying? But that was an elite guy. Shador, I would say, was elite. They lost some games last year. I even argue Jackson Dart at times elite last year. They lost some games. So I'm not going to say the elite category is not based on just undefeated, 1-loss seasons. But I will say I do need to see you be the catalyst. Those 3 guys I named were catalysts for their offenses. You know what I'm saying? And so I think I'm going to put them in very good right now. Actually, can I just leave? I think I'm going to put them in I didn't even see the last one. Yeah, I'm going to put them in need to see more. And for us, Chad, that is not a bad thing. That's not
at all. Not at all.
It is just we don't have a real grade yet. We're really saying we don't have a grade yet. But I do like the talent. I just need to see a little bit more.
Completely understand it. So up next, we have Illinois quarterback Luke Altmaier, former Ole Miss backup to Jackson Dart, and then transferred to Illinois last season. I thought had a really solid year for the Fighting Illini. What do you think, man? So
you may not agree with this. Cade Klubnik is more talented than him. God-given.
Yep, I agree.
Luke Altmaier might have been the clutchest quarterback in college football last season. The late game drive, this kid got veins. He got veins. You know, D'Lo's ice in his veins. Luke Altmaier got ice in his veins. And to be honest, Illinois wasn't relevant without him. Really wasn't. Right. I feel like the way he was able to operate that Illinois offense, I'm going to put him at the top of great. I'm putting him ahead of Cade just because of what I did see last season. And let's be honest, the talent he had compared to what Cade had, I mean, I think there is a clear, it's a clear wash to Cade. So I think Luke, and the crazy part is, Donnie, I'm surprised he didn't transfer. He's a guy that I'm surprised did not transfer because he would have had his pick of the litter. If you look at the games that they won this year, you look at the last 2 minutes of the game, it's the Luke Altmaier show. And so, so I got to give him his flowers. I think he has so much talent. I mean, I think he's going to be able to put himself in a real situation to make some bread in the NFL if he's able to. He propelled Illinois into national contention. It won't just because of it'll be because the quarterback is operating at an all-time high level. If he can get Illinois 10 wins, Donnie, he's elite. Okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair enough. Illinois can pull off a 10-win season, he's elite. Who we got next?
Alrighty, up next we have sneaky Heisman contender, a guy who played really well during the regular season. We got Kevin Jennings from SMU, excuse me.
Oh man, my elite list might be really short, Donnie.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
The problem is, it feels like this college football season, there's a lot of question mark guys.
I agree. There's a lot of guys that we wonder.
Like, what I'm saying is, like, Kevin Jennings, I can argue, I could put him in great. I mean, I could put him in elite. I can argue him for elite. I could put a real case for him. But then you look at them last games of the season, but then I look at the Clemson game, the way he performed in the Clemson game, it's like, but then I watched the Penn State game, and I'm just like, who is this guy, right? Like, who is he yet? I don't know. I'm gonna put him in great. I think he's more talented than. I think I gotta put him. I'm gonna put him behind Cade.
Okay.
I think he can propel himself to elite the same way Cade can, because I think they both can be Heisman contenders. That Rhett Lashley offense is nothing to sneeze at, and Kevin Jennings did have a phenomenal season. But I'm gonna put him in great right behind those two. I'm gonna give Luke the nod just because of the game winners. The late game drives, they do a lot for me, especially in college football, and especially when your team is not as talented as the rest of your conference. Who we got next?
I couldn't agree more, by the way, with the last part. Up next, we have the old man himself, the 7th-year senior, Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt.
So I'm going to put him at the top of great. He'll be number 1 in great.
Ooh, okay.
I know people may not like that. He has the most experience of this bunch.
Yes.
I'm still living off the high of the Alabama game. He's good, man. Like, at the end of the day, 7th year, I'm not really always into the eight-year quarterbacks. You know how I feel about that. But he's not – I don't think he is physically better than any of the guys behind him. But he also plays in the roughest conference at Vanderbilt. And he is literally the offense. I mean, that spread, I don't even know, read option offense they run with him that literally moves all these defenses around. Okay, actually, put Altmaier over him. Put Cade over him. Yeah, put Kevin too. Look, he's good, but I can't in my heart really do it. Like he's the most experienced guy, but he's the least talented guy.
Yes.
But then at the same time, Donnie, if Vanderbilt has 9 wins, I'm gonna be kicking myself for not picking them for having them out, because they only would have 9 wins because of him. I'm gonna give the other guys the nod. I want to make them a little higher, but I think just talent-wise, if the problem is I think about the talent, like just talent-wise, it's not a comparison. The other 3 guys are just flat out better, God-given. And ironically enough, I think I'd pick all those guys over him too. If you just told me to pick a guy, I want to give him his flowers, and I'm trying to do that. The Alabama win was insane. Really changed his life too. I'm gonna put him at the bottom of great. Put him at the bottom of great. But I think he deserves to be in great.
I agree. I think him and Eli Stowers are also one of the best. I could argue that is the best quarterback tight end duo currently in the country.
Easily. That's my tight end 1 next year, this going into the draft.
Completely fair. He really is that talented. He would have been, you could argue, I mean, in last year's loaded tight end class with Tyler Warren and Coastal Loveland, you could argue he's tight end 3 in that draft, and that's how talented he is. So good choice. I'd put him around there also. Up next, we have the Cal transfer from Indiana quarterback transfer from Cal. This is Fernando Mendoza, a guy who's also getting a lot of NFL draft hype recently. What you think about him?
He got some juice. I think he's good. I'm gonna put him in the top of very good though, because he only threw 20 touchdowns last year. But he has a lot of talent. He can be an NFL prospect. Go to Indiana. We know they're going to be good again.
Elijah Stewart is one weapon.
Right. And what I love most about Indiana is people got to understand that everybody talked about their schedule, but when we look at by the end of the season, they played a decent enough schedule that they deserve to be in the playoffs. I think a lot of it was convoluted. A lot of it was it's Indiana. But if you looked around the rest of these other conferences and how these other teams played, LSU wasn't a big win last year. USC beating LSU last year wasn't a signature win for either team. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're mad at Indiana for losing to the national champions and losing to Notre Dame, who was the runner-up, Alabama, you argue for loss to Michigan. I mean, I think the Indiana hate was a little forced. You know what I'm saying? I think they were a great football team. It was so forced because of the name. I think the coach is phenomenal. And so I'm going to put him in very good, but he could easily, we'll probably do this one again, week 5 of the college football season. And I definitely think we'll be having a different conversation. I think he is a very, very talented guy. And he has one of the coolest plays of last year. I mean, the accidental hook and ladder was awesome for the touchdown last year. I thought that was great. So I'll put him at the top of very good right now.
Fair enough. Yeah, that was a fun play. Shout out California. All right. Up next, we have actually a guy we were just talking about not long ago. We got Nico Aimilaba. No idea if I
I just
pronounced
call him
that right,
Nico.
but I don't know if
Yeah, I just
anyone
call him
can.
Nico. Yeah, I just call him Nico. I think everybody knows who you're talking about. I say Nico. I'm gonna put him behind. I'm gonna put him in front of Fernando, just because he made the college football playoffs. But he's very good. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Physically, God given, a lot of things. But I mean, if we look at his time at Tennessee, it wasn't like he was a dominant quarterback at Tennessee.
No.
Played within the system. I mean, he had 19 touchdown passes. It wasn't like a crazy year statistically. I'm putting him over Fernando because he's more talented, and I think going to the playoffs out of the SEC does weigh a little bit more. But I can't put him in great. Can't put him in elite. Has elite tools though, elite tools, but he's not great to elite yet. Can change the narrative though. You put UCLA in Big Ten conversations, you'll be elite.
Completely fair, especially with those God-given gifts, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Up next, we have as the one and only Patrick Mahomes calls him, Little Cuzzo. We got Dylan Raiola in Nebraska.
Okay, another guy where I'm just gonna say he's so young, but this is not a potential list. You might not like this one, Donnie. He might have the best arm on here, but I gotta put him at the bottom of very good.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all.
Yeah, at the bottom. I mean, I feel like he made some throws. We made some wild throws last year. Another God-given guy. Could be a future first-round pick in another season. But I mean, as of right now, I mean, there has to be a jump. I'm ready. It got to be a jump. Yeah, and there's no hate to him. I think he has a lot of juice, but where he stands right now, I don't think he's better at playing quarterback right now than any of the guys in grade.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? But he's more talented than Luke and Diego, maybe even Kevin as well. I think Kevin's a more dynamic athlete for sure. K might be a little bit more. K's more dynamic, I think, too, as an athlete. Mm-hmm. But the other two, he's physically better than. But I just don't think he plays the position better than the other four guys.
Completely fair. I mean, you saw some inconsistencies whenever conference play started, but I still think the freshman positives still outweigh the negatives for him to be very good, and the ceiling is still there to unlock.
I agree.
Up next, we have Georgia Tech, Haynes King.
I'll put him in okay. He'll be our first okay. I know they had some wins that people loved. Florida State was garbage. You know, like they were garbage. No disrespect, they were so bad this
2-10.
Like they were garbage. I don't even know how their coach is still there. For Florida State to go 2-10 and the coach to remain, insane to me. I'm not calling for anybody's job, but how the mighty have fallen where they are able to accept the 2-10 season. Haynes King, gotta put him in okay. I think a lot of their success this year, it was more about the team than it was the quarterback. So he's just okay.
Right, and then they also had Singleton, who actually now transferred to Auburn.
Yeah,
he'll be a fun watch. We'll potentially get to an Auburn quarterback soon, but yeah, I agree. Haynes King is in this okay range. Been around college for a while. I will say that Georgia game. I don't know if you ended up watching that Georgia.
Yeah, I remember that.
That ending was a lot of fun. I remember me and my mom having a really good time with that. So I completely agree with this. Up next, we have the new Oregon quarterback, now replacing Dylan Gabriel. We have Dante Moore, former 5-star, was at UCLA, then transferred to Oregon, sat a year behind Dylan Gabriel, and now is ready to take the starting spot.
Yes. So, needs to see more. To see more. I don't care how many teammates say he's going to win the Heisman Trophy. I don't care what the coaches say about him. I gotta see tape. I only can tell what the eye in the sky shows us. I don't care how many pretty throws he makes in a shirt and a t-shirt, a shorts and a t-shirt. Don't care about a spring game. Don't care about practice highlights. Gotta see it in the game. Need to see more. Has a lot of talent though. Former 5-star recruit. We know what he is physically, but still, gotta see some games.
Completely agree. A guy who is also getting a lot of Heisman hype as well, like you mentioned. Currently top 10 in Heisman odds favorite on most gambling websites. So up next, we have another quarterback in that recruiting class, former 4-star. We have Kansas State quarterback Avery Johnson.
I'm going to be honest. I'm putting him in okay over Haynes King. Some people like him a lot. I think he's more dynamic of a runner than he is a passer, honestly. So it's like if they don't Colin Klein Kansas State with him, bring back them Colin Klein days, Heisman Kansas State days. I don't know. I'm gonna just put him in okay because I just don't think he doesn't throw a bad ball or anything like that. Actually, I just don't think he's a prolific passer. Like I don't think he is. I think he's more of a dynamic athlete than he is a dynamic quarterback right now. And so I feel like the Kansas State, like if Kansas State is in playoff contention, to me, it's because he got 15 rushing touchdowns. You know, like he got like 8 to 10 rushing touchdowns, about 20 passing. Like he's killing you on the ground. So I think right now I'm going to put him in okay. Can definitely change, but gotta put him in okay. I gotta be honest with myself with this one.
Yep, I agree. And this is a guy who, once again, very young. I mean, this was his first year starting at Kansas State. And a lot of people have high hopes for Kansas State this year. And if he can take that jump, they can 100% win the Big 12 this year. That's how good their roster is. And they're going to have a great run game because of his legs, all this stuff. So I'm really excited to watch Avery Johnson this year. A guy who is also 100%. Really talented, a guy who the NFL has been loving. We have LSU Tigers' Garrett Nussmeier.
Top of very good. He's so close to being my elite guy. Oh no, top of great. Sorry, top of great.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, top like,
of great.
Whoa.
Top of great. This kid reminds me of like a young Brett Favre, even though it is screw Brett Favre, but it is he reminds me of a young Brett Favre, gunslinger. Not a throw. There's no throw he's afraid to make. And I love that. He is going to try to fit it through a window. And the thing is, I do think that's a translatable skill in the NFL because you have to fit the ball in areas. Placements matter. And, you know, he's not a Shedeur Sanders where his ball placement is how he layers it. It is, I'm driving it through two of y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to beat you with speed on a fastball. LSU just wasn't great. I know a lot of it had to do with the defensive situation, but I just have to see a little bit more. But but we've already discussed this. These are no knocks. I think he has first round ability. There's no reason why he can't go first round next season in the NFL draft. But again, I don't really have that many elite guys. I really don't. I don't. Like, I think my list right now might have 2 guys, bro. I swear to God.
And I completely understand that. I think I agree with you. Right now, the quarterback position in college, it is a lot of, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with Garrett Nussmeier. Let's see what happens with Cade Klubnik and some of the other guys that we'll get to. Because there are a lot of talented guys, and you're not wrong about him. He'll swing it even if he knows it's not going to work just because he's just a cocky thrower. And that's something a lot of people and I can appreciate. So,
me too.
Completely fair ranking. So up next, we have another former 5-star in the 2022 recruiting class. We have a backup over the last few years at Alabama, and now he finally gets his chance to start, Ty Simpson. What you thinking, man?
I mean, will he win the job?
It sounds like
that's the problem.
It sounds like he's going to. I have a buddy who works for Alabama and does articles for them, and it sounds like he will be the starter.
Okay, so put him in need to see more. We don't know. Because my whole thing is, what if Keelan Russell is a guy? You know, these guys are going to see him in fall camp. And my whole thing about it too, Donnie, he might be the starter, but what's his leash? How many games does he get? Yeah, exactly. It'll be short before it's Austin Mack or Keelan. And for the head coach, I mean, obviously, the Vanderbilt loss stings, got a lot of great players, but he's trying to do a little. Kalen DeBoer is trying to get back to, you know, he's going back into win mode. So I'm gonna say need to see more. Who we got next on the list?
And also I think it's just real quick. I think it's interesting. Someone told me that I do, and I think it's fascinating. Someone told me that this quarterback situation does remind them of. Remember when former 5-star Bryce Young was coming in town and he was the number 1 recruit? Everyone was saying, give him the starting spot right away. He's the number 1 recruit. But then Mac Jones won it. And people were like, really? And then Mac Jones had the season he did
balled out
this round because of it. So I think it could be interesting with that. I'm not going to predict that. I'm not going to go out and say that. But I think it's a scenario that could happen with Ty Simpson, being kind of an underdog throughout his career. And you have Keelan Russell, who former 5-star, very hyped up recruit who could just flat out steal the job for him. So it's interesting. We'll see how that goes. Up next, another 4-star from that recruiting class committed to Oregon State. Now he's at Michigan State. Played decent football last year. We're looking at Aiden Shiles.
If I had to grade him off his turnovers from last season, we'd have to put in a bad tier. But what I'm going to do, because it was his first year starting ever in the Big Ten, we're going to put him at he's going in the need to see more. Because we don't have another grade, because that is our other grade, I'm just going to put a question mark. I don't know, man. And we don't have, if we had like a below average, that's where I'm going to put him. He was very lackluster last year.
He was.
Now, Nick Marsh, dog.
Yep.
Hopefully he steps up. I think the coach is riding with him still. So for you to have those many interceptions and turnovers last year and the coaches still have confidence in you, that means there's something about him that they see. So we're gonna bank on the potential, but right now I gotta see more. There's no way.
Agreed. Up next, we have Kansas quarterback, another 6-year senior. We got Jalen Daniels.
He's hurt so much.
He's
hurt a lot.
I'm a Jalen guy too.
Are you going to be playing NCAA 26? I mean, if I get this channel collected to set up with OBS, we could play some 26 on here. That'd be fun. We could play some 26, and we'll play against y'all. We'll play some fan games. We'll play against y'all. But I always get home and I always pick first. I house rules. I'll probably go just put him in good, very good. I mean, when he plays, he's good. Good guy, quarterback. I think he's better at playing the position than Dylan Raiola right now. At just playing quarterback. I'd probably argue he's better than all of them at playing quarterback right now. He's just hurt. His thing is he's injury prone. Yeah, he is not healthy. So, I'm going to put him at the top there because I think he plays quarterback better than those three right now. But I also could argue I might need to see more because he's never available. But I'm going to give him the 6-year benefit of the doubt.
Fair enough. And I remember all the Kansas hype a few years ago. I mean, what a crazy experience that was, seeing Kansas football on top of it. That was a fun experience. All right, up next,
I could argue real quick. I would argue him, Kobe Bryant, all that group, they changed the trajectory.
Oh, of course.
People don't give them enough credit. They changed the trajectory of the program.
There was a point where people were saying Kansas was the most laughable and worst team in the entire Power 5.
Yeah,
that is no longer the case whatsoever.
Nope. You gotta bring your hard hat.
You do, and that's something you really do have to give them a lot of credit for, man. I mean, to go from the absolute, we're not talking worst of the Big 12. We're talking
about the worst of the worst.
Yes, we're talking about a team that could lose to a good amount of group of 5 teams. That's what we're talking about.
Facts.
And to see him rise like that with Kobe Bryant and Jalen, it's awesome to see, man. It's great. But let's keep it pushing. Up next, Colorado transfer from Liberty. We got Caden Slater.
Salter.
Excuse me. Sorry. I was watching too much tape.
No, you're good. You're good. Okay, so I'm actually going to put him on the back of great because I'm going to not act like that Liberty year didn't exist. The year they went to Oregon, he was phenomenal. I've seen him play at an elite level. The reason why they weren't as prolific last year because NIL and the transfer portal exists. The same level of talent that he had when they went and played Oregon in that bowl game versus what he has now versus what he had that last year, it wasn't even close.
Yep. So
I'm not going to sit here and act like I haven't seen him do a real carry job and then try to do another one the year after with less talent. Because let's be honest, some guys left him for more money other places. Obviously, Liberty got some funky rules as well. So if guys could get out of there to make some money, they're probably leaving. I'm not going to act like I don't remember that year he had at Liberty. I still think he's a top dog. So I'm gonna put him in the back of great. I think I know who this next one is.
Who is it?
That John Matier?
No. Up next, actually, this is Auburn transfer from
It's
Oklahoma.
Arnold.
This is Jackson Arnold, a team who I really like this year at Auburn. But yeah, Jackson Arnold's up next.
Yeah, the only reason I thought it was because I can't see from the StreamYard, so they look small. But I just thought that might have been him in the.
Yeah, right.
So who's that? Jackson Arnold.
Yep.
I'm gonna say I'm not even gonna put him in. Okay, I'm gonna put him in. Need to see more. I think it's gonna be a breakout season for him. I think this Auburn offense is gonna be great for him. Now, obviously, let's not forget he got a 5-star in Deuce Knight on his heels, so he has to play up to scrum, or there will be fans screaming for Deuce to come in. But I do think it's a good situation because I'm honestly like I'm not really the biggest fan of every 18-year-old starting right away. I'm really fine with you sitting, like the Arch Manning, the Arch Mannings of the world. I mean, even Tua, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Trevor for a little bit, Trevor Lawrence for a little bit. I mean, C.J. Stroud sitting under Justin Fields, all of that.
Bryce Young under Mac Jones.
Bryce Young, yeah, like I think it helps, and so I'm gonna say Jackson. I'm just gonna give Jackson. I don't need to see more because I think the talent is there, but I gotta see it.
Completely agree. Up next, we have USC quarterback who transferred to Louisville. This is Miller Moss.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah, that's all I got for him. Yeah, that's all I got. Okay. I watched a lot of Miller Moss this last year in LA. I mean, he's just okay. He's like a poor man Sam Hartman.
Wow, that's a really good comp.
Come on, bro.
That's a really good comp.
Come on.
From an NFL draft perspective, because I'm big into the draft. That's really good. That's really good.
He's a poor man Sam Hartman, man. Like, and I say that with all due respect, but it's just he is what he is. And so I gotta put him in okay.
Completely fair. All right, up next we have your boy, actually, that I heard you talking about on an older episode. We have Ole Miss quarterback Austin Simmons.
I'm supposed to put him in. Need to see more. I seen one drive against Georgia. Put him in great. Put him in. No, I'm just kidding. Put him in very good. Put him in the back of very good. I'm gonna put him in the back of very good. I'm not gonna be too biased. I'm gonna put him in the back of very good. But I'm telling y'all right now, chat, this is my guy this year. I am putting a lot of stake into this kid. I talked to Donnie about him on a behind the scenes level. This kid graduated from high school at 16. He's 19 now, already graduated from college. Donnie, fact check me on that. Am I lying?
You're not lying.
No, because Donnie couldn't believe it either when I told him, chat.
I did not.
I told him. I said, listen, he's been in high school. He's been in college since a sophomore. He's been in college. He's supposed to be a sophomore in high school. So this kid clearly is smart, great learning curve. But I'm sorry, when you go against Georgia in a big game and come in for your first round, your first round quarterback who's in Jackson Dart and lead them to a scoring drive and don't miss a beat. And this is why I love Lane Kiffin, because he's a sicko. His first play was a pass. Just rips the Band-Aid off this kid because he knows this kid can absolutely spin it.
Kid can play.
In 5 weeks, he will be an elite. This kid will play his way into a first-round conversation. He'll be the youngest first. He'll be like Lamar. He's going to go into the NFL at 20 years old.
Could be.
I can see it.
All right. The big one. The very big one. Quinn Ewers' replacement. You may have heard of the last name before. There's obviously, Eli. I don't know if you've heard of him. Eli Manning. I don't know if you got Peyton Manning. You know, 5-time NFL MVP, 2-time Super Bowl champion. This is their cousin, or not their cousin, excuse me. This is their nephew. Arch Manning.
This big Arch. He's good in any hood. He's good in any hood. I know you've seen the photos that went viral. He's good in any. Arch is good at the cookout. He's good in any hood. We love Arch. Because I've seen even though those games he was in were like throwaways, I did see enough to say he is very good. And I'm putting him at the top of it. The top of it. I mean, I think he's the best quarterback of that group. And I know it's only like a 3-game sample size. First of all, the boy is fast. Didn't get that from his uncles.
He got
That's clearly from his daddy and his grandfather. For sure. Didn't get that from his uncles. The kid can flat out run. Like, to me, to me, he's a full-blown dual threat, dynamic quarterback, improviser. Like, I'm putting him in those categories. Like, the thing I like most about him is he can gas you vertically on the ground, and then obviously God-given passer. So, I mean, I think he's going to have a phenomenal year. I don't think he sat for 2 years for no reason. I think he's ready for the moment. Quiet, not even the most, like, when he's in his commercials and stuff, he's definitely, charismatic, but I think he carries himself well. For a guy that has so much pomp and lights in front of him, I think he does a great way of carrying that pressure and not letting it, get to his brain. I don't think there's an arrogant bone in his body. Honestly, a lot like Shedeur Sanders, I think he carries the legacy of his last name very well.
Very well, yes.
Understands say what there's a lot of things that I felt like about the Shedeur situation with the draft, but I will say this: with the last name, he's never been in trouble, never been in a scandal. You never heard no crazy story about Shedeur. Same thing with Arch. You don't hear no crazy stories. You don't hear no. The thing you're gonna see is he's in the hood at the cookout at the camps with the kids. He's not doing anything controversial. They stick to their work and they definitely represent their families well. So I like him a lot. I think he's gonna have a great year. I'm putting him in the top of very good.
Fair enough. And I do think, with the Sark offense, they love their RPOs. That's what Sark is known for. Mm-hmm. That's what Mac Jones was running a lot of whenever he was at Alabama for his obvious breakout year. Someone told me, and I think it's accurate, I think he really could be Trevor Lawrence, where Trevor, he was a very hyped up recruit, but also maybe one of the greatest RPO college quarterbacks I've ever seen. The way he mastered that RPO system comes in. Truly one of the best I've ever seen. And Arch does remind me a lot of him. He has that arm. He has that size, maybe a little bit shorter than Trevor, but a little bit stockier. And he's got some underrated movement. I mean, Trevor was known as a pocket passer, but then you saw the run versus Ohio State where he ran for a 70-yard touchdown, and you're like, whoa, what was that?
What's really crazy? My comp from him, like, he reminds me more of like Caleb.
Who?
Caleb Williams. Because of the I think his improv is gonna go. I don't think we saw enough of his improv because of the competition. But I think next year, this season coming up, when he's gonna be forced in chaotic pockets and have to, when plays break down, I think it's gonna look like almost like Caleb Williams. I actually would comp him closer to like a fusion between Caleb and Bryce. I think he's gonna be out there playing point guard at quarterback. Like, that's what I think it's gonna look like. Like, the way Bryce plays quarterback, it looks like Chris Paul out there playing quarterback. And that's not really more from a height standpoint. It's more from just how he does, how he goes about throwing the football, how he throws into the windows, the way he even runs out of pocket, the way he runs with the football. Like, like Bryce Young is an intentional runner. When he runs, he ain't trying to get hit, really. He knows, I'm trying to take these yards, go down. It's like, how a point guard is like, I'm trying to make the right play, despite, having to play around and set up and organize and through this chaos. So he kind of gives me I like the Trevor comp, but also you got to understand how I feel about Trevor as a whole. I got some
Fair enough.
Like Trevor's God-given ability, but there are some things, and I don't want to because I also think there's some things in college that Trevor underachieved at that we kind of moved to the wayside because of the Heisman. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're not wrong. He never did. Yeah. He never did, unfortunately.
No, but I don't even really care about the Heisman Trophy. To me, it's not even about the Heisman because we've seen some great quarterbacks now win the Heisman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's really more about, like, I do think in some of those games, his sophomore, the last 2 years he was there, I think there was just some games where I'm like, you're God-given.
Yeah,
you got a lot of talent, but in some things I'm nervous. And the thing about it, I think them things are showing in the NFL at times. The things I've been concerned about. Yeah.
For sure. And for all we know, this guy right here, he could be an elite after game one, considering they play the
Literally. He knocks off Ohio State. The conversation, Donnie, is going to be insane.
If he goes out there and lights up the former Natty winner, we're going to have we need to have some discussions about this guy. We really do.
For real.
So it'll be fun. But another quarterback that's gotten a lot of discussion, a lot of negative. I feel like this guy, Penn State quarterback Drew Aller, my opinion, a guy who's gotten way too much hate. A lot of people think he's in the very good tier or even just the okay tier. What do you think?
I don't agree with
What
that.
do you think about Drew?
He's great tier. One of the worst offensive group of pass catchers in the country last year. Put him at the top. I mean, I don't even think this is, to me, to overthink. I think the next step for Drew Aller is just catapult Penn State back into a national championship game.
Yep.
Like, put Penn State back on the map. And Drew Aller has the perfect opportunity to do that. Nick Singleton's a dog. As long as the receiving core is upgraded from I just think he didn't have great receivers. Some guys cannot really get open. The separation wasn't great. I mean, his best offensive pass catcher was Tyler Warren. And this is no disrespect to Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren's an absolute dog. Who's my tight end 1. Spectacular catch 99. But at the same time, an offense cannot be dynamic with just one guy. You need a stable. And the fact that they're game planning his tight end because you can play man on his receivers all day and not really be too scared about your one-on-one matchups, it's not great. So that at the top of great though.
Agreed. And hopefully with the transfer portal, receivers they brought in, hopefully that can make a big impact. There's been some reports that the receivers have looked a lot better this year, so hopefully that's a positive for Penn State fans.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think they got a transfer from USC as well.
They did. They got a transfer from USC. They brought in a kid from Troy, and then they brought in Syracuse's best of receiver.
Yeah, I remember that
as well. So I do believe, and they are losing Tyler Warren, but their current starting tight end, Luke Reynolds, former 5-star actually, going into his sophomore year.
Yep.
I think having that freshman year to learn behind one of the best tight ends, maybe in college football history, in Tyler Warren.
Easily.
Having a season to sit behind him and learn, I think is going to be valuable for him. And they have the best running back duo in the country. So I think this is the best situation that Drew Aller has had in his career. I expect big things from him. And if he can bring them to national championship contention and maybe hold it up.
So for Drew Aller, if I'm Drew Aller, Donnie, this is your best chance to win the Big Ten.
Easily.
Because, Michigan and Ohio State, there's question marks at quarterback. USC, UCLA are not going to be crazy players. Your biggest op this year, is Oregon. It's your biggest op. It's Oregon. So, you got to be able to figure that out.
Completely agree. All righty. Up next, we have Arizona State quarterback. Whoa.
Elite. Our first elite quarterback, Sam Levitt.
What a dog, man.
Elite. What a dog.
What a dog.
Sam Levitt is elite. That is an elite quarterback. I think he does not get – we talk about Drew first round, Garrett first round, Cade first round. Sam Levitt is a first-round talent to me.
He's got the arm.
He got the arm strength. He has the athleticism. I think he is a dynamic athlete as well. And you watched him outplay Quinn Ewers. I understand he made the game-winning throw at the end. Sam Levitt, against a harder defense, a tougher defense, outplayed Quinn Ewers and Arizona defense. I'm not knocking them, but that Texas group had first-rounders in it.
Everywhere.
That's second. What are we talking about? I don't get John A. Barron was on the other side of the field. To me, the best plug-and-play DB, not named Travis Hunter in the draft.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I truly believe he's elite, by far elite. And I also think his head coach, that's my dog. I low-key would want my son to play for Dillingham.
Yeah, shout out Arizona State, man. What a shocker. No one saw this coming. Arizona State, their over-under was 3.5. And then they go out here and put up a dog fight against Texas. They were
I picked them to win
close.
Too. So close.
So close. It's just Quinn Ewers made some big plays when he needed to. So.
One play. You look at one play. 4th down, one play, Matthew Golden. Lord have mercy. All right, who we got next?
That one play, I completely agree. Up next, another quarterback that played really well last year, transferred from Washington State.
That my dog Mateer?
That's John Mateer.
Elite.
Wow.
Elite. 44 touchdowns last season in a doomed conference. He is putting Oklahoma on the map. He led the nation in touchdowns, might be the best rushing quarterback in the country. Not named
Lenore Sellers.
Not named Lenore Sellers, yeah, for sure. Not named Lenore Sellers. I think the John Mateer thing might not be popular. I don't care. 44 touchdowns isn't an accident. Washington State was a 10-win team, 9-win team. I mean, realistically, they didn't have a conference. They weren't even really playing for much. And if they did have a conference, they might have been in contention. You go out your way and look at this kid and go watch the tape. He's a beauty. I mean, the physicals that you're talking about, the frame, size, athleticism, the things that NFL scouts value, I see it all in John Tier. I see it all. I mean, I think he's gonna grab like Oklahoma. Don't you can't scratch them off the schedule this year. Oklahoma is Oklahoma will be fighting for a college football playoff spot. I am damn near close to giving them one already. We haven't done our projections for the college football playoffs yet, but they, to me, will be one of them 12 teams. With straight seeding now, I don't see with this guy coming in how they're not in contention. I mean, this is a team, but they beat Alabama.
They did beat Alabama.
They beat Alabama without a dynamic quarterback. I mean, that defense is decent. If there's one thing about their head coach, he could coach some D.
Brent Venables, yep. Okay.
But that was kind of crazy. But no, I like John Tier. I know people might not think he's elite. I think he's elite. Like I truly believe he is a guy. If you look at the history of college football, the guys who have always dominated college football, Donnie, are the guys who can run and throw at a high level. You can look down the roster. You even brought up Trevor Lawrence. He running for 70 yards before. We've seen him go for 70. You know what I'm saying? Like we've seen it at a high level. So when I look at these factors, man, I'm taking John Tier. I'm just not sneezing on 44 touchdowns, Donnie. I just can't do that. He had an NCAA video game season. I don't care about the 2 losses. I don't care about the fact that he didn't go to a premier school. Washington State 2 years ago was a Power 4 school. Cam Ward came out of there. He put up huge numbers. He had more touchdowns than every guy on our list. How am I not put him in the elite? I don't know. You know my thing, Donnie. I love production. This guy was productive as hell.
And he's got the talent, man. He's got the talent. I mean, a lot of people are comparing him to a faster Baker Mayfield. And when you are on that level as a player, you deserve to be near the top. And I completely agree. I mean, you can't lie with the production, man. He really was that good last year. And it really was out of nowhere. You know, Cam Ward left Wazoo, and it was, what's Wazoo going to be? Then this 3-star recruit comes in and leads the FBS in touchdowns. It's unbelievable what he was able to do last year. And I'm excited to watch him at Oklahoma. You know, they also brought in the offensive coordinator from Wazoo there at Oklahoma as well. The offensive line's been improving according to reports. The weapons are going to be healthy. I couldn't be more excited for Oklahoma football this year. It's going to be fun. Up next, your guy.
It's going to be good next week.
We got your guy next, Lenoris Sellers.
And then this is where we got to go back. I'm going to put him ahead of Drew Aller in the top of great. I want to put him in elite. But it'll be dishonest. His numbers don't give him elite yet. You get what I'm saying? His numbers don't give him elite yet. Like the guys at the top, I'm really giving them elite because somebody got to go in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd rather take the guy with 44 touchdowns and the guy who led Arizona State to national prominence and was literally one play away from, was it the Final Four or the champion or the national championship?
It would have been the Final Four versus Ohio State.
They would have played Ohio State in the Final Four. They probably would have got dog walked, but I actually think they would have put up a better fight than Texas because the back end of that Texas game, Ohio State game, that didn't really tell the story of the game.
No.
The score don't tell the story of the game. It was a domination.
Ohio State was in control the entire game.
The entire game, yeah. And I think Arizona State gives them a better fight just because I think the offense was a little more creative, honestly. And I think dynamic with Scatterbo and Sam. So I'm gonna put Lenoris in the top for sure. And the thing is ironic is like Lenoris, Drew, Cade, probably all more physically gifted than the 2 elite guys.
Yeah, you could argue that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you could.
Like Lenoris and Drew. I mean, you build them guys in video games.
Yeah, those guys are the tools guys.
Yeah, like these 2. Like, I really want to take these first 2 and put them in elite. Like, I would literally take the first 3 and put them behind these 2. I think you should take these three and put them behind those two.
Okay.
I'm gonna give them love. I'm gonna give them the love. I think I feel like
What was the last one?
Nuss.
Nuss. Oh, Nuss. There he is.
No, wait. Yeah, Nuss.
Yep.
Yeah, this looks a little bit better to me. I like this a little bit better.
Yep.
Yeah, I like this a little bit better, just because I do think these three guys are like on their way to being first round conversation guys, and I think they did play some really good football. I think they have elite tools. Like, I don't see them having bad seasons. If they have bad seasons, I'll be surprised.
All these teams are going to be better.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about talent-wise, you could argue Penn State has the best roster in the Big Ten.
Facts.
You could argue LSU has probably the second best roster. You could argue behind Texas.
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina is going to be a sneaky contender once again. Now that their defense is going to be just as good as it was last year, the weapons are going to be better. The offensive line's taking another year.
Facts.
Sellers in another year is the big one because he's such a young kid. He's only 19 last year. I mean, you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong, man. Like, all these guys, I mean, you talk about tools, and then we'll get to the next guy down here who also has some crazy tools.
Yeah.
These are the big three when it comes to tools. I agree. But we do have another one. DJ Lagway from Florida.
So just put him right behind Arch. Very good. The funny thing about this tier list right now that I'm just thinking, like, the two at the top are very good, can easily propel themselves to elite in 2 games, 3 games of next year.
And this, they
you know what I'm saying? Like, the one thing that's so frustrating about this tier list is like I feel like the other tier lists are gonna be so much easier because we grade skill position players a little bit different than we do with quarterbacks. Like, quarterbacks just have so many other intangible things that we think about when we grade them. And so it's like DJ and Arch, I mean, in a day, bro, in 3 games, they both could be on Heisman short lists. You know what I'm saying? And we're all talking about DJ Lagway needs to figure out how to get his eligibility back so he can enter the draft next year. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like DJ Lagway is literally the same size as Anthony Richardson. And people argue that he might be more have a stronger arm than Anthony, you know? Yep. Like, he's a physical freak. Got to put him there. But I think very good for now. I think he's going to have a phenomenal season.
I agree. It's very sneaky eyes.
Arch, and I'll concede Arch and DJ, a lot of it is potential driven. Oh, well.
Absolutely. I mean, we could be looking at number 1 pick in 2026, number 1 pick in 2027.
Literally.
We could be
we could be in a situation where it's 1 and 2 in 2027.
Yeah, man, those debates would be fun. All right,
that would be a legitimate debate, a strong one for both guys.
Sure. Absolutely, it would. It'd be a fascinating debate. I think it'd be a very similar thing to, like, the Trevor Lawrence and Fields thing, where it's these two guys have been fighting at each other for a while, but what happened. But up next, a guy who I think it's fair to say I overrated a little bit at one point.
Oh, yes.
I'll take my L. I have
30 people watching, Donnie. I need the chat to know about the history behind this. But just so everybody can get some of the lore real quick, just some lore. Me and Donnie used to get into huge debates about Carson Beck. Yep. And the thing is, me and Donnie sometimes debate, not because I think any of his takes are actually ever bad, but it's because Donnie is really smart, chat. And like us all, we get a little biased in terms of like what we value at certain positions. We do. I do too. I'm not saying I don't. I do too. But Carson Beck was a toolbox warrior to Donnie. Toolbox warrior. Had all the God-given skills in the world. And I used to tell Donnie, I know Georgia has 12 wins. But this guy's just not that good. I just don't see it. I don't like the mechanics. I don't like the footwork. He has the best offensive line in college football. And every single time the pocket's chaotic, he's a deer in headlights. And then last year, Donnie, it's like everything I told you when they had 12 wins came into fruition. I told you this. You saw it come alive.
Oh, man.
And so I don't care how much money Miami gave him, Donnie. He's in okay. He'll be at the top of okay.
if I can get it to work. Hold on, wait. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, the top of okay.
How the mighty have fallen. How the mighty have fallen. Yeah, man. And listen, I've never been one to just, and it's funny. I was talking about this in the group chat earlier. I don't like people just clinging to takes, never willing to admit they're wrong. A lot of analysts who work in big time media outlets like ESPN and Fox, they just do that. I'm okay with admitting I'm wrong. I always have been. I've always been okay with it. I'm not perfect. Like I may believe I'm intelligent with this stuff, but I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be 100%.
You're not never going to be. Especially when you talk about quarterbacks.
Yeah, if I was 100%, all 32 NFL teams would be calling me right now, asking me to scout quarterbacks. I'm never going to be 100%, and that's totally okay. Carson Beck was disappointing last year. Under pressure, he was significantly worse than what I was hoping for. The accuracy really was extremely inconsistent, especially with stuff, down the field. Now, granted, was the situation worse than what I was expecting? Yes. Does that excuse everything? Absolutely not. He himself was a worse quarterback, no doubt about it. I still think there's a chance he could bounce back, maybe to like somewhere around here on the top of very good, like kind of in the Jalen Daniels. Maybe if he gets lucky, somewhere near the back end of great, if things go well down in Miami. But I agree, man. I was overrating this guy. He did not live up to my expectations, and he disappointed last year, and that's just the truth of it. I'm glad he got his money at Miami, because if he would have declared last year, I don't know where he would have been drafted. I think he would have been drafted just because
I think he would have went undrafted. I think he would have went undrafted, Donnie. Quinn, you would have went 6th round.
I think he gets drafted sometime in day 3. I think he does.
Really?
I think he sneaks away into the 6th or 7th round, but no, I mean, and if he has another down year, he's not. If he has another down year, I mean,
it's over.
Kiss football goodbye. Like,
but the reason why I don't think he will go drafted, Donnie, excuse me, is because everything you're saying about what you saw last season, this is what we argued about the season before.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying? And I'm not on it like I'm trying to be on something like I told you so. It's more like,
well, you can. It's okay.
No, I know. Listen, I know it's gonna be. I know, but I'm just saying, when you turn, because you're saying if he would get drafted based off the tape from that year, the 12-win year. But to me, when you have more talent around you, the things that I didn't like with that talent around him was still happening, and so the inconsistent, like Donnie, you watch tape just as much as anybody. Last year, his first year, when he had when they had that great season, the biggest issue, he throws all arm, doesn't stand with a base. And to me, you know what? Well, you know what tells me when he doesn't step into his throws and they're so inaccurate? He's scared to get hit, Donnie.
Especially for
that's the biggest difference. Come on, you're 6'4".
Yep.
I watched Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Quinn Ewers. Look, I was the highest on, but I watched them get pummeled and make a throw. Listen, regardless of how you felt about Shedeur as a prospect, Donnie, you and I both can agree. Come on, bro.
5th round's insane.
But not even the 5th round. I'm just talking about how many times he got hit and making throws while getting hit. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying making throws while still getting hit, Donnie. That's what I'm talking about. Carson Beck, to play quarterback, there has to be a little sense of craziness to you. You cannot play quarterback afraid to get hit. And I think the loss of the mechanics, when he plays, the lack of being able to step in, throwing some off his back foot, some throws off his front foot, not consistent with his base. To me, that is because you are worrying about getting tackled. That's what it looks like. I could be wrong. I was never a quarterback. I played defensive back, wide receiver. The only time I played quarterback, Donnie, is run wildcat, give me and let me run. But at the end of the day, I will say this. You played at Georgia with the best O-line in 2023, 2024. And in the games you played your worst were in games where your offensive line got pressured a little bit more than they did against Vanderbilt and New Mexico State and whoever else you played. And so I just think in Georgia, with the talent not being the same and him being asked to carry more, you get what I'm saying? the pockets got more chaotic. He clearly didn't do it at the level I thought he would do it at.
Nope.
But with that being said, guys, this is our quarterback tier list. We'll say this is our pre-QB tier list because we'll do this again heading into the season, maybe like 5-6 games in, and then maybe we'll do one in January when we, you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So, but right now, this is our quarterback tier list. This is where I'm at. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let us know what tier list you want us to do next. Me and Donnie got a list. So we're going through a bunch of tier lists throughout the whole entirety of the year. We'll definitely do a playoff predictor where we go through our who going to be the best 12 to get in. Donnie, I do want to have a discussion also when we do that episode about what you think of the new seating. With that being said, Chad, we appreciate y'all rocking with us. Leave a like, leave a subscription, leave a comment. We will be doing this all year long. Make sure y'all follow Picks and Spread. That's Donnie's channels. What are you, 20K on TikTok right now?
Yes, sir. 23K.
Make sure y'all follow Donnie. Donnie, anything you want to say before we end the stream?
Get ready for future content, man. I couldn't be more excited. Me and J-Rob have a lot of stuff planned. We're looking forward to this upcoming season, man. It's going to be a blast. Can't wait.
Yes, sir. We'll see y'all soon.